Hi there, thanks for clicking again. My name is Corey, and gonna just give another little walkthrough of today's chores. Probably get a little closer to the animals, a little closer up to the goats and the cows, and kind of share a little bit there with that. Kind of give a little update as far as changing the fencing around. We kind of made the decision yesterday in the rain to pull all the fencing down. If you've watched the previous videos, I kind of touched on it. For breeding purposes, we had everybody kind of sectioned off, and so we did take down that fencing. And so I might talk a little bit about that. I tried to get a little bit of footage during the rain on my phone. I was going to see how well that stuff kind of turned out, but it's pretty wet, pretty chilly. But actually not quite as chilly as it is today. I feel like today, since the rain quit out here, I feel like it actually has kind of gotten a little bit colder. So anyways, I'm gonna get feed bucketed up, and then we'll run up to the top and start feeding the groups now, the 2 groups instead of 3. So as I've touched on a little bit before, our feeding regimen out here is really nothing overly complicated, at least at this stage in the game. I think it's kind of about to get not necessarily complicated, but it is going to have to change, because when you're feeding this many animals, you do have to kind of start paying attention to, well, I'll speak from my standpoint, and that is trying to run some type of a business out of this whole venture. You know, you gotta mind your dollars and cents. And so we are kind of getting close to the point where, you know, we've already made the call starting about a year ago to start feeding round bales, just because it's a little bit more of a labor saver, and I would say it's more economical too, as far, versus buying small squares. And that's just, this is just my opinion, I only speak on behalf of us, because this stuff here, it's gonna vary so much from place to place, and there's so many variables that you know, to be just, you know, I guess to just draw the line or have it be so black and white, that's really isn't gonna, it's not really fair. It's not gonna make sense in all scenarios. So, but for us, you know, so like making the move to the round bales, this grain I would definitely like to eventually buy in bulk. We're right there to where we should be. We actually should have this year already been buying bulk, in my opinion, and I do the numbers, and so I know for a fact that we should have been buying in bulk, even though we're not feeding these guys, you know, this crazy amount of grain. But I digress. We can go over all that stuff at some other time too, all those details. But so in the other video, you could see that we had the Premier electric fencing, and we had it so that it was running straight down and then over, and that kind of sectioned off this carport, you know, shed, and it brought it up to somewhere like up in here. And then that center portion was where we had all of our little kids dolings from this year that we didn't want to be bred. And then we had a breeding group over on this side, and then we had a breeding group over on that side. And so I don't know, yesterday it was even though it was raining and everything, it was still warm, warmer than what it is right now standing here. And we did it about the same time. We were out here doing chores yesterday about the same time as now. And it's definitely colder. So but we moved some of the huts around, moved them back, and got it all kind of set up for, this is kind of what it'll look like for winter. And I definitely do not want to rush or kind of blow past this stuff. I'll gladly revisit it, but these girls were in with their respective bucks for like 25 days, and some, like I said, this is all my opinion. I have had seasons where I've left these guys in for 7 days, and you can definitely say that there's some luck involved there. But you know, 1 week's time, and and everybody was bred. You know, it wasn't that many does. It was maybe like 10 does, but you know, five to each buck, let's say, and 7 days everybody was bred. And now this year we've done 25 days, and then we've done upwards of 60 days together. And so we've had pretty consistent results. We have a younger herd, you know, younger bucks, younger does. I don't know, genetically speaking, some of these, you know, like our bucks, we know the most about, or when we first started, the bucks were the ones we knew the most about because their father is papered, and so we kind of have like pedigrees and you know, kidding history as far as whether they're multiples. You know, these come from triplets, these two. So you know, we kind of and goats and sheep, if you've done any research or you've been around them, you know that multiple births is it's not surprising. It's actually kind of expected. And so, you know, twins is pretty common. Triplets is not unheard of. Quads is, you know, is not unknown to happen either. So, but I say that, you know, we have a younger herd, and then we kind of have some of the genetics. And then actually, you know, now getting to know some of these ladies here for the last 4 years roughly. You're hungry, aren't you? I know you are. I know. I'll stop talking here shortly. But so some of these other gals, you know, they've kidded now 2 or 3 times, and so I document all that. I have the history on, you know, obviously who's bred to who, and then the kidding, and you know, do they have singles, twins, triplets? I get the birth weights, and then we do the, you know, 30, 60, 90, and then you know, we'll go up to, you know, 120, 180 every 30 days if we have the time. Otherwise, you know, we'll usually do like a 60, 90, maybe like a 180 or something. But I'm pretty I really like numbers too, and so I have all the numbers on these guys, and that's all documented and stuff like that. So, and it just helps for making decisions. So anyways, I'll quit talking there, and I'm just gonna get these guys fed, and then we got cattle chores. Okay, so that's everybody fed, and now one thing that we'll take care of today is we probably should rebed some of the huts. Basically, I don't know, I think like the rule of thumb that we always go by, like over here in this hut, and I'll show you. You know, it's kind of one of those things where if you kneel down in the bedding, you know, if you kneel down in the bedding and you're getting wet, you know, your pants are getting wet, your coveralls, whatever, are getting wet, well, then that's what these guys are doing. And I mean, here's the thing. Animal stewardship and taking, you know, husbandry, taking care of these guys, that is the name of the game here. That's why you do this kind of stuff. So that's really important, you know, dry, safe, secure, you know, draft free. You know, you can see we kind of got some daylight poking through in some of those corners, but you know, relatively draft free. Now remember, I guess like my experience on dairy farms and stuff, you know, you don't want to have stuff airtight either with livestock and stuff. But like I said, going back to it, if it's wet, you know, and you kneel down, you're getting wet, you know, we're going to drop down to probably the mid to low 20s tonight, which is it's nothing for these guys. These guys, if we've had goats for 4 years now, and this is what they're in. They're in these huts here, and then this carport, and we've had, you know, these guys have been out in negative, you know, negative, I don't know, 10, 15 degrees Fahrenheit, probably more. I mean, when you take into account wind chills and real feel, some pretty extreme temperatures. Now, granted, there's a whole thing there that we could talk about at a later time too, as far as when you have winters like that, how to get these guys prepped, you know, to get the housing prepped, the feed prepped, how to condition these guys for winters like that. You know, that is one of the challenges of being up in the upper Midwest like this. So, but anyways, we are going to bed. It's rained for the last, I don't know, for the last 3 days or something. Pretty much consistently, you know, rain and sleet and stuff. I didn't get any totals. I mean, our rain gauge has been put away. You know, it's winter time here, so they're not supposed to have that much rain at the end of December. But so I don't really know what we got, but things are pretty well saturated, and so I'm gonna get these guys bedded with a fresh small square of straw. That's what we bed with, is primarily straw, and then, you know, sometimes leftover hay as well works too. But yeah, we'll get that going, and then probably toss a little bit with the bucks too, just because, like I said, you know, it's damp out. You know, it's damp, the ground, the bedding's a little wet, and that just kind of zaps that heat out of them. And yeah, we don't want that to happen. We want these guys to you know, maintain condition and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna kick that bale of straw in there. Make sure to pick up your twine. I hate to catch that and get that all tangled up into bearings and all kinds of other stuff. And then I let these guys, so they'll eat some of it, of course, and then I will let them basically do a lot of the spreading themselves. They'll have it all taken care of here in a little while. And we'll get some over here in these huts here. And I'm not going to get too crazy with it right now. Like I said, these kind of temps, when I was working on dairy farms and milking and doing chores and everything else, you're actually, there's a certain temperatures where these animals, you gotta remember, they're running around with their fur coats. Their body temperatures are higher. And no, I'm not a vet or anything like that. So, I mean, excuse me if I speak out of place here or whatever, but, you know, these temperatures, oftentimes that's when these animals are the most comfortable, is when it's not 90 degrees out and 80% humidity. So yeah, but it just, I do like to stay on top of it. It's just nice to, I just like everybody to, you know, stay dry, clean as possible. You know, feeding, like I said, just trying to keep them stoked here, keep the furnaces burning. You know, I think I'm not alone in this, and when I say, you know, the housing, the feed, you know, when that's all getting taken care of, and everything's firing on all cylinders there, I think it leads to, you know, less veterinary bills, less health issues, you know, saved money there. I have got to say that I work pretty closely with our vet, and he is a great individual. Awesome small ruminant as well as large ruminant and equine. I mean, the guy's got all the bases covered, but even with these guys here, real blessed to have a vet that is a solid guy when it comes to this stuff. And so, I mean, these guys are on a vaccination regimen too, but which has helped kind of clean up the loose ends. And but yeah, so basically feed, you know, good fresh water, and you know, good clean housing, or you know, and dry, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we seem to do pretty okay with herd health and all that stuff. So we really don't have too many issues that require a vet to come out and all that. So all right, we'll get out of here and get going on cows. So we're out at the cows. You can see all of them here. Got 5 Shorthorn cows for anyone who hasn't watched the 2 previous videos. Like I said, 5 Shorthorns, older gals. They are, I think the youngest one we have in this bunch is 8 or 9. Now I will have to obviously go back and check that and verify it, but it's something like that. And then I think all the way up to 11, close to 12 years old. That one there is Patty, the one with the white on her ribs. She's our smallest. Seems to be kind of everybody's favorite. We have names for the goats too, each and every one of them. And for each and every one of the cows, the names of the goats, I know quite a bit, but my daughter would have to be able to, she'd be the one that you'd have to talk to about getting the rest of the names, because she's the one who names them all, and she can list them all off the top of her head. So that is her department. We'll get these guys some corn. I don't think I need to really push up their hay, and we'll get some water and we'll go from there. One thing I was going to point out, where I was showing Patty in this red one here, big red, saw how they were laying out in the pasture here. You know, they have a barn over there. Does not necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with the barn. Just because they're laying outside doesn't necessarily mean that that's, you know, there's any issues with the barn. But it is something, if you take into account all the different factors, all the rain we've had, the mud buildup and everything else, I'll probably be checking this barn here and see it probably needs bed by tomorrow, I'd say. I don't think I'll be able to get to it tonight, but definitely need to get a new bale of corn stalks in there. And because I'm sure with the, like I said, all things considered, all things added up, it's probably pretty wet in there, and that's why they're laying out here. Could be wrong, but we'll check it out. But it's just one of those things to kind of pay attention to. You know, it's one of those things where the animals will tell you, they'll talk to you that way, I guess. Animal behavior. But yeah, so as I've said before too in other videos, big plans with these gals. All bred, 3 in the spring, 2 in the May-June time frame, because they're open. They came up open after everybody, so we had to bring a bull in, and I got some video of him. Fast forward, I can show you him. split. So Patty and then socks right here, they're going to be May, June calves, I believe. And then the rest of them here will be February. So for what we're doing here, and for the small little shed that we have, shed slash barn, it's probably good that we only have 3 in February, being that this is our first time with cattle. Even though I have experience with cattle, you know, just with this setup, and then with these animals not knowing, you know, we've only had them for a year. So it's probably good to only have 3 in the February, March time frame calving. And then the other 2, you know, some would argue flies and all that stuff might have some issues with that in the warmer months, but it'll be interesting to see these guys calving. Hopefully when we have some really nice green grass, green pastures and stuff. So let's see, I think there's plans for flushing, definitely AI, embryo transfer. Have, like I said, some big plans, big goals for these or with these gals. I'm pretty fortunate to have some really neat resources, very neat connections and resources, friends, and just friends, connections through friends, some really solid people that, like I said, I'm really excited when it comes to the future, growing this herd, and then kind of just doing some stuff on the genetic side too. Yeah, spring or February, March can't come quick enough. Spring can't come quick enough. So, but can't complain. Can't complain. We're a little soggy, but it's better than, I keep saying, that 4 feet of snow. All right, well, that's gonna be all for tonight's chores. Probably gonna have to, like I said, do some bedding tomorrow in this shed here, and take a look at the goats too, just to try to make sure everybody's kind of drying out. I really haven't looked at the weather too much. I think that the chance for moisture, whether it's rain or snow, is lessened for the rest of the week. So hopefully we kind of start to dry out a little bit, the best we can considering the temperatures, the time of year. But yeah, so everybody's got their hay, a little bit of corn. Goats are taken care of, cows are taken care of. I just want to thank you guys for clicking on this, and really appreciate it. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, Merry Christmas. We're getting close to that New Year's, and so I hope that everybody has a great New Year's as well coming up here. Yeah, take care, God bless, and we'll see you later.